The gong ringing ceremony, ladies and gentlemen. And if you can have you stand around the gong in a semicircle. For everyone with the cameras, a great photo op. Please keep the cameras clicking. We are getting ready now for the final countdown, for this auspicious moment that we've all gathered here for this. This is the moment, ladies and gentlemen, it's coming up. And we'd request everyone who are there on the seats to not stand. It's going to block the view for the cameras. You can just keep sitting, please. Thank you so much. The countdown has begun. Less than 30 seconds to go. The final 20 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Exciting time. And here we go. One more gong, sir. One more gong. Jio Financial Services, ladies and gentlemen, live on the BSE. Congratulations to everyone who's been part of this. You can keep the claps going. You can keep the claps going, you know. You can see the excitement in everyone's faces, in everybody's eyes. It's a very auspicious moment for this company, and a very proud one too. But everyone over here in the white seats, please remain seated. You want it off? Branding on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Jio Financial Services, live on the Bombay Stock Exchange.
Well, a historic moment indeed, given the fact that, it's the first listing from the Reliance stable in nearly 2 decades, and Jio Financial Services has listed at 262 rupees per share vis-a-vis the discovered price, which was at 261.85 per share. Remember, shareholders got 1 share of Jio Financial for every 1 share held in Reliance Industries as of 28th July. And let me also get on board my colleague Santosh Nair to shed more light on what should be the next step forward going forward. Santosh, shares have listed at 262 rupees per share. We know that this was the 31st stock on the Sensex and 51st stock on the Nifty. But after 3 days, we are given to understand that the stock will be exiting these indices. What should shareholders know about this?
So, so the situation as it stands now was that till yesterday or till this morning, Jio Financial Services was part of the indices but could not be traded. For now, for the next 3 trading sessions, it will be traded, which means that this will have a the moves in this stock will definitely have some implications for the benchmark indices as well. And from Thursday onwards, that is when these stocks will move out of these indices. Now, it moves out of these indices, and then later on, whenever there is a review of the Sensex and Nifty at that point, possibly whenever that happens, and if it makes the cut, then maybe you could see the stock again coming back into the indices.
All right. We're given to understand that the stock will be in the trade to trade segment for the next 10 days, right? Could you explain for the benefit of our viewers what exactly happens in the trade to trade segment?
So, what happens in the trade to trade segment is that the trades whichever are done, they can be done only against delivery. So, if you are selling those shares, then you definitely must have delivery. You cannot short sell and you cannot later on buy back the shares. At the same time, if you are buying the shares, they have to be for delivery, which means that again you can't unwind your position intraday. So, this arrangement will continue for the next 10 trading sessions.
All right, that's what happens in the trade to trade segment. But FTSE had earlier stated that it will remove the stock from its indices, but then it has said that it will continue to be a part of the indices, and MSCI standard will also be including the stock in its global standard index, right? How does it impact flows and trading volumes for Jio Financial going forward?
Well, clearly, if a stock is part of the major indices, it means that the fund managers which are tracking that particular indices, we are talking about the FTSE and the MSCI global index here. So, any fund that is benchmarked to both these indices will need to have all the stocks that are part of the of these indices. So, which means that in this case, fund managers will need to include Jio in their portfolio. Already it is part of FTSE, but the MSCI global index fund managers which are tracking that index will also need to have the stock as part of the portfolio, which means that we could see some kind of buying into the stock from fund managers which don't have exposure to the stock so far.
Right. For a shareholder who's bought RIL shares post the demerger date, which is July 20th, what would be the tax implications be like, Santo?
Yeah, so the company had said last month that investors which had held shares prior to July 20th, July 20th was the cut-off date after which the Jio Financial Services got demerged. So, investors holding shares prior to that, Reliance Industries prior to that, the value assigned to Reliance shares was 95% of whatever was the closing price the previous day, and 4.68 roughly odd percent was the value assigned to Jio Financial Services share. So, now this means that based on the discovered price of 261.85, 133 rupees is what was the original acquisition price. So, whatever the profits that investors in Jio Financial Services make over and above that, above 133, that is the, on that amount they will be paying the tax, short term or long term, as may be the case.
Let's speak about the NBFC space as a whole. Bajaj Finance is the largest player here, and of course Jio Financial becomes the second largest player. Do you think Jio Financial has the capability of doing what it did in the telecom space, like the kind of disruption it brought about? What is the market view on that? You must have been speaking to experts on this, but do they feel that Jio Financial could bring about the kind of disruption that Jio brought about in the telecom space?
Definitely, because whichever sector Reliance has entered in the past, it has clearly ended up disrupting that sector, and that's what we are possibly likely to see in the case of financial services. At least that's the chatter, that's the talk in the market at this point in time. And if you see the NBFC space, there is a lot of action happening right now. If you just look at the performance of NBFC stocks right now, there is a lot of interest in NBFC stocks. In fact, more as compared to banking stocks at this point in time. There's a lot of lending happening against both industry as well as the consumer segment. So this is an area where the market is bullish at this point in time. There is plenty of scope, and as Reliance has said, as it indicated in its filings, it's expected to enter into a host of segments, beginning with merchant and consumer. And there's also expectation that it will enter into insurance. It's already formed a pact with BlackRock to enter into the AMC segment. So clearly expectations are running pretty high as far as the market is concerned.
Right, you know, I beg your pardon, August 28th is an important date in RIL's calendar, given the fact that you have the AGM happening that day. You know, in terms of expectations for Jio Financial in particular, given the fact that it's the newest entrant into the stock market, any expectation as to what announcements it could come up with when it comes to the NBFC arm, or, you know, anything by way of Jio, Reliance Retail, anything that you are listening or hearing from experts? What are the expectations like from the AGM this time around?
Well, there's clearly expectations at this time. The focus could be on the financial services, because that's an area where the group is entering in a big way. And in the past, there have been major announcements about its telecom business during AGMs. In fact, many of the announcements have come during the AGM. So clearly there are market expectations. So what it is at this point, we don't know. But clearly expectations are high that the AGM focus could largely be on the financial services. Just like the last 2 years, it has been mainly on the green energy foray. This time it could be on the financial services.
All right, there you have it. We have seen the listing of Jio Financial, first company from the Reliance stable to list in, I think, over nearly 2 decades. And we have had the shares listing at 262 rupees per share on NSE. And aside of that, of course, we'll be keeping a close eye on the AGM that happens on the 28th of this month. But for now, from me and Santo, thanks a lot for watching. For all your other news and updates, stay tuned to Moneycontrol.
How do world leaders view India?
I've long believed that the relationship between the United States and India is will be one of the defining relationships of the 21st century.
The bright spot of the global economy.
The growth rate for India, which is 6.8 in 2022. Let's not forget, this is one of the bright spots in the global economy right now, such a high growth rate.
The potential of India is enormous, and you have now a reformer, a radical reformer, who has the ability to transform it.
On the verge of a big transformation.
इस अमृत काल में हमारे संकल्पों की सिद्धि हमें आजादी के 100 वर्ष तक ले जाएगी.
A magnet for investment.
I'm actually incredibly excited about the future of India. I think India has more promise than any large country in the world.
The world is bullish on India. Moneycontrol is bullish on India. Join the campaign. Tweet to us with #MC Bullish on India.